beautiful people, welcome to my channel. So in today's video we are going to discuss or do the review of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 1 episode 8 titled Hot Tub Confessions. So in this episode we start off with Mary. I guess her son is somewhere in the house, but the house is so big that she calls her son to ask, remember that Prada purse, or it was some type of designer purse that he purchased for his girlfriend. So apparently the bill came and it's showing that he used his mother's credit card to purchase the bag. So she calls him to find out, did he really do that? Well, obviously he did because it's on the bill. And she's like, if you're going to do that, make sure you use your own money, because guaranteed your relationship is, the bag is going to the bag is going to last longer than the relationship. So don't do that again. But it seemed like as long as this kid just tell his mother, I'm sorry, he gets away with anything. So that's what it is. Like, Mom, I'm sorry, don't do that again. And then she smiles and lets it go. All right. Then we have Whitney goes out to dinner with her hubby, and they're talking about, how they want to keep things spicy and stuff like that. So they did their little lovey-dovey stuff as far as husband and wife is concerned, and that's it. We left them there. Then we have, we settle on Jen at home with her kids, and it so happens that her youngest son, Omar, is sick. I guess he has the flu or whatever. So she goes into his room, bring him some soup, and I thought it was funny. She asks him, do you want me to cuddle with you and make it all better? And he was like, no, ma'am. That's the way he answered her. And then he had his older brother in the background just dying of laughter. I thought it was such a cute moment with Jen and her son. And the way he answered her, all respectfully, but like, do not come in this bed. So yeah, that was cool. He's 14 years old. He's grown. He's not a baby anymore. So that was a cute moment with Jen and her youngest son. Then we have Heather and her business partner visiting the new establishment. I guess they're expanding their business. I mean, the business is doing well. I don't know if they're going to close the other location, but they went to go visit the new location that's under construction, and it's almost done. They're putting in the flooring and just getting the lighting done, and her contractor is giving her some extra tips and stuff, and it's almost ready. They're about to move into their new establishment. So congratulations to Heather and her business partner. And that was nice. So now, again, I'm going through this fast because, of course, it happens in steps. And as you know, I have my notes. So now we have Meredith is at her boutique, and she's pulling pieces of jewelry for another designer or a show. I'm not sure exactly what she's doing, or a stylist, or so on and so forth. But she's on the phone with her son, and Seth came. I'm so happy to see Seth. I thought he was gone for the rest of the season. Honestly, I was happy to see Seth. So Seth came, and she was on the phone with Brooks, and she told Brooks, well, your dad is here, and he's coming to town because we are all going out skiing the next day. Of course, you have Brooks with his sarcastic self talking about, oh yeah, he could make it in for skiing, but he can't make it in for my fashion show. But when Brooks is older and he's in his own relationship, he'll look back at this moment and realize that he was being a brat, because listen, your parents are going through something. They need to work it out. Let them do what they're doing, and go sit your little self in a corner and just wait till they come together and they could, relax. Basically, just relax. So, Seth came, and he and Meredith had a heart-to-heart, and it was so sweet to see. So at the end of the heart-to-heart, Meredith tells him, listen, I'm willing to move forward with you and I. Let's just work through this and get to the other side. And like she pointed out later on in the episode, I believe it's the episode after this, where she said that before they were separated, before they went through this already before. And back then it was because they got back together because of the kids. So if they get back together this time and it doesn't work, like, they're doing this for them. So if it doesn't work this time, then so be it. But they're going to give it another try. So this is Meredith and her husband. And this is after Jen already told Heather and told Whitney that Meredith is stepping out on her marriage. But we're going to find out a little bit more later. Just keep watching. Just keep listening to the review. All right. So now we have Lisa and John, they go out to dinner, just the two of them. We have their older son watching the younger son, and they go out to dinner. And again, John points out to her, he's like, listen, you're working too hard. I feel like I'm working too hard myself, and the kids are suffering. They're not getting enough of our attention. So, of course, right away, Lisa, as she would, feels mom guilt. She feels that she's doing what she's doing now for the entire family and for her children. But at the same time, her kids aren't getting the attention she wants. Remember, in the last episode, they set goals as far as spending more quality time together as a family. So you could tell that, on camera, she was starting to tear up and she was feeling bad. And she actually came out and said, I'm feeling really guilty for not spending enough time with my family. So they kind of cut the date short and went home because at that point, she didn't want to talk about it anymore. So that was that with John and Lisa. Then we have Whitney and Justin goes to see Whitney's dad at the rehab center or the sober living environment. And Whitney's dad is a trip. So he wants to, remember, the program is 90 days. But he wants to cut it short at 21 days. No, that was before, when he went out with her and the kids in the last episode. And I'll link the review above if you haven't seen it yet. So he calls them and tells them it's an emergency. They need to come to the sober living environment. Now they get there only to find out that he's getting a roommate and he doesn't want a roommate. And he made that very clear when he came that he didn't want anybody in the room. He just wanted it to be him. Now he wants to leave the sober living environment because he's getting a roommate. And the counselor, Whitney and Justin and Whitney's dad sit down and they talk and they're like, listen, you're getting ready to leave here. Do you have a job? No. Do you have some place to live? No. So how are you going to how is this going to work? And I feel that if Justin wasn't next to Whitney when they had this conversation, Whitney would have probably gave him, but Justin was there to make sure that she stuck to the she made sure that she held him accountable and stuff. So he was like, so how are you going to support yourself? And he's like, well, I'm gonna need some help. And she's like, no, I think you need to stay here and go through the whole program to make sure that you're okay before you come out and start living on your own. And she's like, honestly, Dad, I feel, of course she started off with something positive. Like, I like the fact that you're making such good headway. You're making sure that you're sticking to your plan and everything. I saw the relationship between you and my children, and that's something I want to happen going forward. And I feel that if you leave here right now, it won't be the same. And she's like, I feel that you're expecting me to take care of you when you come out. And honestly, I don't want to do that. I don't want to feel that way. I want to be able to be around you because I want to be, not because I'm obligated to be. Or something to that effect, she said. But she let him have it in a nice, respectful way that you would speak to your father. Not like these little young kids like Brooks and his parents, the way he talks to them and stuff like that. But Whitney let her father know, listen, keep your butt in here. Go through the program and let's see what happened at the end of the 90 days. And he agreed to it. So I like that exchange. It's a good thing, like I said, that Justin went with her and he was there to support her, and that was good. So that was Whitney and Justin going to see their dad. Oh, she also pointed out that there was a time where he was having financial difficulties and he was leaning on her for money. And what he did oh my God, I'm like, if my father did that to me, I would have cut him off immediately. He made a list of everything that he spent money on for her throughout her life. Like, basically, listen, you did what a parent was supposed to do. Take care of your child. She said from back in the days where she was younger than 18 years old, he made a list of everything that he's done for her throughout her life and tell her that this is the bill you owe me to pay me back. She didn't ask to be on the earth. You as a parent are supposed to take care of your children. How are you going to do something like that? And she said, actually, she gave him the money. She gave him the money and she still kept the relationship with him. Girl, you are more woman than I, because I would not have given him that money and I would not have kept the relationship with him. So Whitney's dad, I forget your name. You better make sure that you keep that girl in your corner, because that is just totally wrong. All right, so they left the sober living establishment. My hands, sorry y'all. She left the sober living establishment and left him there. All right, so that was like I said, Whitney and her dad. Now we have the next day, we have the event that Seth came into town for. We have all of the husband and wives going snowmobiling because who invited them? I believe it was Jen who planned the trip, because remember, Shah is not in town a lot, so she wanted to do something as a group. So Shah was in town and they all decided to go snowmobiling. So all the couples came together and that was nice to see them all together. Now Jen is seeing Seth and Meredith being all lovey-dovey and stuff, and she says to the confessional she's confused because didn't Meredith tell them, or did she tell them that she was separated, and she's confused to see that they're together and all huggy and kissy and all of that. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later. And then we have all the other ladies side-eyeing Meredith because Jen already told them that Meredith is cheating on Seth, so they're not understanding what is going on. Meredith is cheating on Seth. Meredith is separated from Seth. Yet here Seth is on the trip with Meredith and they're having a good time as husband and wife. So, girl, I don't know. All the other ladies were side-eyeing Meredith and Hun. And Meredith and Hun. Meredith and Seth. Seth is one of my favorites. Like I already told you, you know that. Then we see they sit around the campfire. Of course, they get on their snowmobile. Heather. How can I forget this part? Heather was a single rider because, of course, she doesn't have a significant other. But it's okay. She was fine with that. Everybody else was on the snowmobile as a couple. They kept toppling over. Every one of them fell over, no matter who was the driver. And Heather was on her snowmobile just riding through. She called herself a single rider, and she was just doing her little stunts and stuff. It was fun to see Heather on her snowmobile. Now we get to the destination. Of course, there's a destination. They light a fire and they're having little snacks. And we're getting to know Shah a little bit more. So I believe it was Lisa who asked Shah, tell us your story of how you and Jen met. And he told him about, because remember, they met in college. So he told him about their first date, how it was her and her entire family who went on the first date. I think they went dancing and stuff, and they wouldn't allow her to dance with him until finally they did. But they had to put the space, the respectful space in between. And we come to find out that's just a tradition with Jen and her family. Like whenever the girls are going out on a date, everybody needs to approve. So he's like, all right, I'm going to take the opportunity to see if I could get Jen to myself. And he asked her while they were dancing, like, do you want to go out to eat after this? As it turned out, she's like, yes, we do, meaning the entire group. So he had to take everybody. He had to take everybody to dinner on the day. It was funny the way he said, like, but wait a minute, I didn't know that everybody was coming. And he was like, well, that was it. He knew he loved her and he asked her to marry, and she was so sweet. And when he said that sweet part, you heard, and then the camera went on everybody's face around the building. And of course, Whitney's like, have you met your wife? This was her in the confessional. She didn't say it to Shah, but she said in the confessional, have you met your wife? And then we show clips of when Jen is going off on everybody at whatever point throughout the past 7 episodes. Yeah. So that was fun to watch. It was funny. It's like, sweet. Have you met your wife? Then, okay. That was over. Everybody's getting ready to leave from the mountain and go back home and do everything. So Jen invited whoever was willing to come over the next day for dinner. Not everybody was able to make it because, of course, people had trips they had to take, other appointments that were made, birthday party preparations and stuff like that. So before they left the mountainside, Whitney pulled Heather to the side and she told her, listen, Jen came to my house a few days ago and she's telling me that Meredith and Seth are separated. So I'm kind of finding it funny to see them here, lovey-dovey. She's like, let's go ask Meredith what's going on. Heather was like, I ain't asking Meredith nothing. She was like, listen, if Meredith didn't tell it to me, I'm not asking her anything. So they left it at that. All right, so now it's the next day. The couples get together for dinner at Jen and Shah's house. And, you know, they're talking about different things. But the highlight of the dinner that I wondered, and I'm glad Shah asked the question of Lisa and her husband. He asked the question, is it not a conflict of interest, but is it, let's say, use the word wrong, to know that you are part of the Mormon church, and the Mormon church prohibits you from consuming alcohol, caffeine, doing certain things. And there's a lot of similarities they found out between the Mormon church and the Muslim faith. So Shah, like I said, asks Lisa straight up. He's like, don't get offended, but is there a conflict? Or like I said, the fact that you own a liquor brand and yet the same faith that you are part of, you know, condemn it. So do they frown upon that and anything, the fact that you're selling alcohol? And the short answer is, Lisa basically told him that, listen, I choose to be Mormon. And one of the things that the Mormon preaches is for you to use your skills or whatever to get rich. And the fact that I choose to be Mormon, then I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's wrong that I'm selling alcohol. And of course, Jen, who grew up in the Mormon faith, in her confessional basically said that's BS. You know, you should not be doing it. She didn't say it directly she did not say it to Lisa. She said it in her confessional. The Mormon faith does not believe in consuming alcohol. You should not be selling it either. But according to Lisa, she sees nothing wrong with it. And she's going to continue doing it because that's what's making her rich. And Shah then turns to John, Lisa's husband, and asks him the same question. And he's like, well, I agree with her. I'm just as much to blame. And we're going to continue doing it because that's where our income is from. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what you get from the whole conversation. So to lighten the mood, we have Seth said, listen, you can come over to the Jewish faith, Jewish religion, and we'll be okay. Okay, just come on over and we'll have a big party for you or whatever. All right. Then we have, I think this is the last scene where after dinner, the men and the women, they separate. We have the men go off and play. The men go off and they play tabletop shuffleboard, and they talk about you know the things the trouble that they get into with their wives and stuff. The ladies go off and they get in the hot tub. So some of the things that they talked about as men was like the fact that they don't get to spend as much time with because of their jobs. They don't get to spend as much time with their wives and their children, and you know they feel guilty just like the women do. But they're trying to work on it and make it better. Now we get to the hot tub. The ladies, they kept flipping back and forth from the hot tub to the men in the house playing the game. And in the hot tub, the ladies were talking about, weaknesses or faults that they feel that they have. And they were basically opening up to share, things about themselves in order for Meredith to open up and talk about her husband. So, okay, they got tired of her, like, dancing around it. So, Jen comes straight out on actress, like, listen, are you and Seth are you dating to work to get back together, or what is it? And Meredith, in a roundabout way, basically told her, listen, he and I are going to do what we're doing. When we're willing to tell you what we're doing, we'll go ahead and tell you. But until then, just leave us alone and let us live our lives. And that was the end of the episode. So that was episode 8 of season 1 of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It was just an episode to we're getting to know everybody. Like I said, this is season 1, so we really don't know much about everyone. We're getting a little bit of everybody every episode that we see. So now we get to see the couples interact. as a group and to see who's getting along. The men, this is the first time we've actually seen the men together in one room, and it seemed like they have a good camaraderie so far, because they really don't know each other from the scenes that you're seeing. It's not that they know each other from back. They're just getting to meet each other on camera in the season. Like I said, Seth travels for his job. We have Shah, who travels for his job as well. And Lisa and her husband work together all the time. And most of the time, they're gone also because they have to make sure they acquire new businesses and stuff. So they have to do what they have to do to build their brand. So that was it. Give this review a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you would. And subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care of yourselves and your family, guys. Bye-bye.